Hey everybody. So today I just wanted to share what I think is a cool tool. This isn't my tool, just I found it very useful for a lot of different things. But basically what this is the JKI .NET System Exec. So basically this allows you to basically create an asynchronous instance of different system you know, terminal type programs, right? So it could be the command line, right? So it could be, just using like a typical terminal, but even other stuff like PowerShell, Git Bash, stuff like that. So you're able to integrate with these different kind of terminals and leverage those things. It also gives you some cool events so that you don't need to be like polling and checking for information. You'll need to install that on VIPM if you want to play with it. This is just a simple GUI to kind of show what you can do with this. And the API is actually really straightforward. So here we are just using the .NET System Exec LabVIEW class create function to create this session. Here we're actually specifying, so like CMD, we're connecting to just the command prompt. I can input here like PowerShell, different terminals I need to connect to, and I can also specify a working directory. So, if we want to, and I can change that as I go, right? So I can kind of, adjust my working directory as I'm using commands and whatnot. One of the cool things is, if you use like the LabVIEW system exec function, this works well for just sending sending a command to the command line. So if you wanted to just do something, once, or if you want to just get some info, right? Like, hey, run ipconfig, and I want to read back the data. It does work great. Or if I want to go launch some, exe, or open some, Excel file or something, I can do all that through here, and it works great for that. But you run into a point where you need asynchronous communication, where you're not just, hey, executing this and then reading back a dump of data. So a good example would be if you're using like Plink, for example, over the command line, right? So you can use Plink as basically the command line tool for PuTTY. So you can use SSH connections to different devices. You also can just there's an SSH command in the terminal, so you can connect with SSH using that, and then you can basically send commands to devices, get data back. They can stream data back and forth, etc., which you just cannot do with system exec. Basically, it's a one shot. You execute your command, it reads back data. So anything like that where you're going to be asynchronously sending data back and forth, system exec doesn't work for. The JKI library basically fills that gap for you. So once we've kind of set up that create, we're registering for events. So this will basically get data back for us kind of on the fly, so we don't have to be polling for data and stuff like that. And I'll show you that in just a sec. And then we're just running the process. So this is once we actually basically connect to our terminal and we can start doing stuff with that. Kind of on the end, there's just this destroy function. So then in between, we can just kind of do whatever we need to do. So first off, there's this command in. So if you update on the UI, the command in, it's going to just write that command using this standard in write. And then here I'm just clearing out that field for you. So you can enter your next command, and then also setting the key focus back to it, so it's ready to type your next command. And that's really all you have to do. There's also a send button if you want to manually do the same thing. Now, all of these public events, this is where we're actually, so we've registered for events, and now we're going to be getting data back. So when there's data written to standard out, this is basically going to just go and append it to our standard out, which is just this left side of the UI, and I'll show you that in a sec. And then this is just going to keep us scrolling to the bottom of our string. So anything that gets written to standard out will trigger an event, which will basically pull that data out and then just display it on the screen. Same thing goes for standard error. So anything the terminal writes to standard error, we will capture and input in standard error, which is this other field on the right over here. And then there's one other public event, which is just the exit event. So if the process exits, our terminal gets shut down, it's exited. This will just kill this loop, so we're not sitting there waiting on stuff that's never going to come. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And yeah, timeout, there's nothing, panel close, we're just closing this out. So yeah, that's pretty much it. There's only really pretty much 4 functions you need, right? The create, run, write, and destroy, and everything else is handled just through these user events. So yeah, let's look at what this looks like. So we're going to run this guy. I'm connected now. I've got my standard out, this is what you would see if you opened up a command prompt. I can go to command in and I can enter a command. So let's run that, and you can see I'm asynchronously collecting this data. So as one line at a time as it comes in, I'm getting that data displayed here. Whereas if you use like system exec, for example, it's going to wait until that command is done executing or a timeout, or and then it's going to dump everything. Whereas this, I can see the data as it's coming in, which is really cool. You can run basically any command you want, right? I can run system info. You can see my command there, same thing there. And then this is going to go collect my system info. I can use SSH over here. I can do tree commands, etc. But yeah, then I can go see all of these different details about devices and whatnot. So really kind of cool. And like I said, this isn't strictly usable for the command line too. I've used this with PowerShell and had good success. If you've looked at my secret store API that is open source, I'm actually using the .NET System Exec to basically communicate with PowerShell. So I'm executing different PowerShell commands using this kind of asynchronously, which is cool. But yeah, that would be the how you can create an asynchronous terminal for whatever, right? For collecting commands, standard in, standard out from the command line, or for PowerShell, for SSH, for different stuff. So really kind of cool. It's all free. If you're interested, this library is available on VIPM. You can download it and play with it. But yeah, thanks for watching.
Canon Controls is your gateway to mastering LabVIEW. Dive into programming for data acquisition, industrial communications, and manufacturing automation. Explore how to enhance your projects with cybersecurity best practices. Join the journey to elevate your skills and secure your systems with every episode.